Hello, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on where you are joining from. Today's topic is going to be how to stay relevant in this rapidly changing world, AI, and so many different things which are happening and changing the world very rapidly. So, we want to bring a method, a framework, so that you can apply that into your day to day life and try to be relevant, keep up with this unprecedented speed of change, which is happening continuously everywhere. New platforms, new tools are coming every single week. Skills that are becoming few years back valuable and now they are not anymore. So that's a very, very uh, new dynamic world which we are living in, and we have to really look in how we can really cope up and really continue to address this requirement. Quick introduction, myself Raju Srivastava. I'm based out in the Bay Area, California. Been in the tech world fortunately for 28 plus years. My real passion is education, sharing, and that led me to found three companies. One is Big Data Trunk, which is a corporate training services. We have been blessed to serve Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies in workforce development around so many different technologies, tools, platforms. Um, then also have another startup platform, Certified 360, which focuses as a third-party centralized platform, vendor agnostic for certification preparation. So if you're preparing for AWS, GCP, Cisco, so many hundreds of certifications, we have that on the platform. A lot of that is free. You can access and become a centralized place where you can prepare for your certification journey. Otherwise, there is no one centralized. Vendors do provide some material and content, but it's upon the individual to learn and pick up things. So that's why we created this centralized platform called Certify360.ai. Academy 360 is the latest platform which we have introduced. And this is what is trying to address what the topic for today, as well as the world, how it is changing. With this is a micro learning platforms to keep up and build on to skills. So that's our latest thing. This is myself and our team sharing in different conferences. So we love to really share our 2 cents to the world as well and as frequently as possible. I've been also had the opportunity to write 2 books and for Pearson Publication, Microsoft Press. So those are available on Amazon if you're interested. Quick logistics. As I said, the attendees are muted for the beginning part of this. We will have Q&A in the end. We'll open up for conversations, but feel free to put in the chat. I'm monitoring the chat and we'll take up questions if they are relevant while the conversation at logical points. Otherwise, we'll address in the end. We'll record this session and put on YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, Big Data Trunks YouTube channel. And you can look at maven.com as well if you're coming from there or irrespective. There is some goodies which we will share in the end for who stays till the end. So that's a good promo code which we're going to share and some other goodies which we're going to share, free courses and things like that. So feel free to share with yourself those things. I would like to start with a quick question. What's challenges you most in keeping up with this thing? There are technology changes, career skills are changing, industry trends are changing, and basically the biggest challenge is work-life balance. That's another challenge. So it could be a combination of any of those things. So if you could put in the chat, that would be great. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, or combination of them, all of them. So I'm going to pause for a few seconds, see if any feedback or interactions which are there. So giving a few more seconds. And while we are there, I'm going to just, okay, 3 and 4, industry trends, work-life balance. I see 1 and 4, which is very common. Technology and the time period which we are trying to deal with. I think that's work-life balance, more and more things coming in and able to do it. So thank you folks for directly sending to me and in the group as well. I'm going to just quickly bring one thing to see where you all are coming from. So I'm going to launch a poll. So please go ahead and share which channel, how did you come to know? It's a quick one question answer. Would love to understand how folks are joining in and where are they joining in from so that it helps us to continue serving those platforms. So I see people from Maven, Meetup, social media. Okay, great. Giving 5-10 seconds more and then we'll continue. Okay, most of the folks are from Meetup. That's interesting. And some from Maven. Okay, cool. Thank you, folks. So let's continue forward. So those are challenges which we are facing, but let's keep on looking at what's happening. There is a lot which is changing. It's not just AI and technology. Obviously, that's the biggest buzz which is happening right now. But there are several pieces of changes in the social economical challenges which we are facing. What COVID did, it really brought a big digital transformation, and companies looked at ways, and even the individuals, organizations, everybody looked in a way how they can live in totally digital world. It resulted in the complete transformation into digital world. But once that ended up, and that has posed a new set of challenges where folks are companies are overhired and how things are happening. And based on that is a big element of how layoffs and things are happening. AI is definitely adding to that piece. And AI has resulted into new constant new technology or tools coming in, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Midjourney, Copilot, hundreds and hundreds of them, which keep coming on a constant basis, on a weekly basis. It's causing a shift in the marketplace as well. Companies are looking for ways how they can automate, how can they bring productivity. If they're not doing it, their competitors are doing it. So there is no choice for any company to be left behind, and whichever is not doing anything, and they are at the risk of being a dinosaur and extinct. So that's the dynamic challenge which we are facing, and that's a time which has never been seen before in the history of technology or the world, the way things are shaping up and how things are happening right now. So it's interesting to see how that's happening. So few more points on the number of stats, what's happening. 65% of the jobs today did not exist a decade back. So within not just last few years and a decade back, things were not. Cloud and mobile, social, there's so much of transformation which has happened in the last 2 decades, I would say. There's huge transformation which has happened and completely changed. AI has definitely taken that pace to a whole new level, and that is something which is unprecedented. Something to reflect. I think, how many of you think like there is technology which you learned or built on and had a career survival 5 years back? How relevant is that? Or rather, the better question is, what do you think? Will your job, what is there, whatever role you're doing, in a year or two, do you see a difference? Will that be continuing or will it be changing? I think if you can put changing or not changing in the chat, kind of a thing. How many of you believe that it's going to remain same? I hardly believe that anyone is going to be in that realm of the world. So giving a few seconds. Okay, some folks saying, yeah, absolutely changing. That's privately sent to me. Thank you. So the biggest question right now is not like what to do, what to learn and when to learn. That's the challenge, and how to keep up with this world. I think that's the biggest challenge, I think. So there is so much of information which we have to look in. So I'm going to change this session into a few different ways we are going to approach it. Let's look at what is happening in the external world. Then internally, you have to reflect what is happening, everything. So we'll go in a systematic flow, step by step. So the first point is to believe there is definitely change which is happening at unprecedented speed. We can't control it. We can, you like it or not, that's going to come, and the genie is out of the lamp, and it is just going to continue. There is no choice, and every company is kind of getting into AI and digital transformation, the thing. So that's not going to stop. So what do you do? Here is the lens which I'm going to share with you all, in a point which you may want to look at your own space. So there is something called as a hype cycle of emerging technologies, and this is produced by Gartner. Gartner is a leading research company for enterprises, companies, and individuals to report on several different areas, whether it is emerging tech, whether it is AI, whether it is, they have reports every year they produce for companies to really decide which platform to use, how to see the trend, all of that thing. They're very the pioneer research organization, and they have this important curve which I really monitor every year, and I would suggest you all also to look at it. Some of you may have looked at it, but if somebody has not, I'm going to cite out a few ways. The curve is pretty straightforward. This is a very standard curve which you see in your life as well, as you go through journey of things, situations happening in your own life. Something is triggered. In this context, there is a technology trigger, whether it could be the mobile revolution, the social revolution, the EV revolution. So there are so many technology triggers which continue to happen. Right now, there is the AI technology revolution which is happening. And with that, the expectation or the peak of inflation rises, the expectation rises, investments, huge amount of investments are pouring. Nowadays, we literally see almost every big company is talking about billions of dollars invested into their AI initiative. So that's what continues to happen. After a certain period of time, the expectation mismatch happens. It's almost guaranteed. The degree of fall may vary, but it is always there. And that we call as a turf of disillusionment, where, okay, we expected so many things to happen and only certain amount of percentage of that has happened. This has happened to AI before. This is not the first wave of AI. This is the third wave of AI. AI started happening in some form or shape in 1950s. And those were challenging phases. This was just much more successful than compared to previous ones, as we see. So there is a turf of disillusionment, but after that, there is a point of enlightenment, which is slope of enlightenment, where you start seeing still a lot of positives which are happening in that space, the technology, the trends, which are really giving at least some improvement. So always there is a positive improvement. The degree again varies how much it is. And eventually things land into the plateau of productivity. We see cloud, we see how the digital transformation, the social, several of these transformations have reached to a point that they become like a day-to-day life. There is no question about whether we are going to use a mobile or not. Every single person on the planet literally has one or more devices, in fact. So that's how this trend looks in. So how can we utilize this trend and this graph and research, which has been spent millions and millions of dollars to produce, how can we utilize for our career, our perspective? This is a similar view of the thing. There is the trigger, there is the peak of expectation, the turf of disillusionment, and slope and enlightenment. What happens, most of the people get carried away with the buzz and the hype. Not everything which is hyped and goes to the peak of the expectations does not necessarily become a mainstream thing. But the noise which we hear continuously is focused towards this, and sometimes you can get carried away. So the takeaway which I would try to cite, keep an eye on whatever is at hype, but don't get too much carried away. Your successful bet is going to be more likely on slope of enlightenment. Obviously, there are people who are like early adopters, maybe looking into that. But I think I would suggest, like, if you're really cautious about a career, I think pay attention more in this. There is so much happening. You can always find areas which are much more successful and in your trend. So that's something, a big takeaway, which we need to look at it. Let's look at the one which has been produced very recently. So I think this is 2025. There is nothing which is produced in 26, later part of the year. It will come in. You can compare. Things go up and down. The way to look at this thing is there is this expectation. So this is a height of expectation which we have. And then we have the different areas. And also it's important, this color legend, which says when this particular technology would become mainstream. And 2 years, less than 2 years, 5, 10 years, more than 10 years, that's some of the technology and trends take definitely that long period of time. So if you can notice, this AI agents are always right now in the peak. And that's why you're hearing every single place, you're literally hearing agents and agents which are being talked about. Every company is talking about agents. It used to be different things. There used to be big data, which was there. It was cloud, which was there. There was so many different things which have gone through this curve. It's nothing new. The speed definitely is mind-boggling. It has never been such a pace, and that's nothing which we can do about it. So this is more of the hype curve, how things are looking at. I'm going to share the recording and things like that. You can Google up and you'll find this thing by Gartner, and you can look at your own lens, how things are. There's white coding there. There is a lot of different programmable money where bots are directly buying for you, and those kind of trends which are being talked and discussed. So there's a lot to be consumed in here. The takeaway is to really apply it to your own space, and we'll talk about some practical use cases and how you can implement these things as well. Let's go a little more deeper in the AI one, because that's the buzz. So this is the latest AI hype curve which has been provided. This zooms in just focusing on AI stuff. And again, AI agents clearly are on top of it. What we see has really started to come on the turf of disillusionment, generative AI, most likely prompt engineering and things. I think some folks have already started to talk like prompt engineering is not necessarily AI, generative AI, or the next thing. So let's be careful about it. But that's not true. Prompts are used in every single tool which is coming. That's a new way of interacting with technology, getting answers and things like that. So that's definitely an important piece, irrespective where we look at it. What is already moved into the slope of entire enlightenment is the cloud AI services. Cloud is here to stay. It's not going to go. And even companies which are in the more financial sectors, even the healthcare sector, which are usually have more restrictions, are getting into cloud. So cloud is definitely a player. Looking into cloud in the AI space, in the cloud arena, is going to be an important piece, which is something to be kept in mind. So this is an example. You need to apply it at your level. So this lens, in my mind, is a good way to filter out the noise. There's a lot of noise, right? I think this is called, in my mind, is the innovation chaos. This is very common. This is not something which has happened in the first time. When big data companies came in, the Hortonworks, the Clouderas of the world, where the main giants and how they were changing and bringing the technology. Now you don't hardly hear anything. They've been either gone, merged, acquired, or just not present any in the form or shape which they were. So that's very common, and that's the next consolidation phase which will come in AI as well. A lot of buyouts, a lot of companies not able to compete and not able to keep up. That's natural. The pace and the degree of amount of investment it is very different. That's the challenge which we'll continue to see, and we want to build on it. So this is the noise and filter which we need to pick it up, and you need to apply it here. Now, that's from the external view. We are filtering it out, we are reducing the noise, we are focusing on certain things. You have to apply it to your thing. If you are into finance, if you are into reporting, cybersecurity, whatever your area is, you have to look in AI in that. Every single job requirement, every job interview is asking AI-related questions. That's become must-have. Even if they're not asking, which is necessary, and you have to bring that conversation that how you could think about AI in your space, and that's going to give you the cutting edge in your interviews, conversations, your resume, and so on and so forth. So that's from the external side. But let's look at how learning happens and how internally you can internalize this process. So there is something called as the 6 stages of competence, how you really go through the learning process and how you can build on to your own skills. So there is this 6 stages where you literally start with something called as unconscious incompetence. This is also the blissful ignorance, where you are not even aware what is happening. You do not know what you don't know. And that's something is like don't know the right questions, you don't aware of the symptoms and the issues and challenges which we have. So this is the first starting point. The biggest growth happens when you recognize there is this gap, there is this need, there is this kind of thing which I can pick it up. So this jump is the biggest growth when you realize something is needed. That's the most powerful stage of growth. So that is called as the conscious incompetence. You're still not knowing things, you're not familiar with that, but then you're moving slowly, steadily into the conscious competence if you continue to look upon that area and spend certain amount of time investing into learning, upskilling, and so on and so forth. So that's something which we have to keep in mind, how we really build onto it. And we'll give you some practical advice and build onto how to take yourself in the journey step by step. So I'm giving you several thoughts, and then we're going to sum it up into a strategy which you can apply in your career and skills which you can build onto. Then it moves to a level of some degree where you are unconsciously competent, and you can really feels like natural, effortless. You're able to do this without thinking much. You're driving, you're cycling. That's the mode which you start moving into. Then the second last stage is the mastery stage, the deep expertise. The chat, I think if we can reduce the amount of chat going on some tangent topic, that will be really appreciated. Otherwise, we'll have to pause somebody. There's way too many things sending. I think we can, if you have this question, please put in there. So there's a mastery level, deep expertise. When you can start even talking about the topic much more in deeper, you can start teaching others, lead with authority. And the last phase is the legendary. You define the space. You work with others to really transform, to set the rules of the game. So this is a journey which really happens. And it is a conscious step which you have to take. It is not automatically going to happen. And not every single thing you need to take it to the mastery and the legendary level. So that's what we have to really understand and create a framework. How are we going to apply this in our day-to-day life? The transition is very difficult, and not a very small percentage of people transform into the next level and next level of things which are continue to be there. So this is the from the unconscious incompetence to the legendary levels. Only 1% of the folks all in an area which are thinking. And you're not expected. You cannot be a legendary in every space. So you have to really pick your battles and really define things which are happening there. Now let's look at this third concept which we are going to talk about is types of professional, types of learning which really people are really trying to build in. So traditionally, there has been two kinds of learning processes. One is the I-shaped professional, where one person knows one technology, you know how to do reporting in a particular tool, and you have spent your decades of your life and career into that space and be able to keep your job and career safe and kind of successful. That's no more the case right now. The world has changed, and the expectation from companies, if you look at any job requirement, you will see at least 5 different things they've mentioned in the requirement, sometimes even 10 and 15, and which starts to becoming unreasonable to really think that one person could have that. But I'm sure you'll have seen that pattern, and that's what has happened. So what we call that as a T-shaped professional, what it means, they have a lot of breadth, a knowledge of various things at a high level, and then there is some amount of depth in one area where they are a master about a particular area. A person who is an AI engineer who also understands business, a data analyst who understands how to do data storytelling, a product manager who understands amount of technology. So that's what the T-shaped kind of experience comes in together. So how do professionals move from this I to T? And in fact, there is a new change which has happened, and I'm going to highlight and show up and talk about that as well. So first of all, you have to really anchor yourself. What is the vertical? What is the area you are in? Look for adjacent skills and technologies. There are so many of them. The challenge is to really filter out and look into a few areas which you're going to look at it. But these are going to start and help you intentionally build your the horizontal line, which is the breadth, and knowing several things. It can also be a great area for exploration, where you're exploring different things before you go deeper into one particular technology. What I see is the world has moved on even from that. So there was the I, which several people who have been in the industry for a long period of time, they know they had one particular skill and they were able to keep their careers. It moved to T. Now what I see is there is a pie-shaped transformation, or what I also call as a dining table or any kind of table which you think. There is a breadth of so many different things which you have to really have. And then you also have to have depth in more than one. It could be a 3-legged stool. We have skills in 3 different areas, or it could be 4, 2, but it's definitely more than one area. If you're not doing that, the transformation in the world the risk of just knowing one single thing, one particular tool rather, I would say, is very high risk. And when companies are really looking at restructuring, transformations, and I think those are the folks which are at the highest amount of risk. And that's something which we have to really keep in mind. And that's why this shift is happening. So really, I would strongly suggest move away from the I to T, and we'll apply or suggest ways to really do that. But at the same time, really look at even multiple skills. So that's an important takeaway right now. But how much time do you really have? How much time can really practically apply to so many things, and how can you do this? So let's look at that in some practical advices or strategies which you can apply and implement in your own case and your life. So you may have heard about this terminology or approach that there are 10,000 hours needed to reach that mastery level, the legendary level, the top 1% of the folks which you can be at that level of getting to the peak level, the people who I think folks who are really trying to really keep up with the best of the world, right? The GOAT, which is called as the greatest of all time. And it was popularized with this outlier by Malcolm Gladwell. And obviously there's no enough time in our life to master so many different things at this level. In fact, most of us really go to life and never reach even a single area. The Michael Phelps of the world, the Serena Williams of the world, the levels which somebody reaches that, needs really dedicated focus on one area for life, almost years and years of even decades of time spent into that. So that is something, a good goalpost for some folks. It works for some folks, and it is not something on a practical basis you can do in your career. It is such fast-pacing thing. So what I had kind of come up with a process with our experience working with professionals for so many years in the corporate trainings and all this world, this challenge has been continuously changing. So we have been giving a lot of thought, and we have come up with a 110, 100 hours learning paradigm. What does it mean? There is so much technology coming in. There are so many tools, so many things which are coming. So how do you keep up with that? What our thought is, if you see a tool, you hear about a tool, a technology, area, spend around an hour. Like if that is something on your radar and you want, this is something you want to look at. Some things you have to filter out. You cannot take every single thing and just go into it. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 15 minutes. Like there is tons of information, YouTube, chat, summarization tools, AI, so many pieces are there. Technology can help you really build some level of awareness where you can at least start talking meaningfully on it, have the terminology, the lingo around it, so that at least you have some level of awareness. Now, let's say that technology or the skill area starts to become more into your workplace and you start liking it, you start feeling that it's something which you can really take to a next level. That's where you start doing the Hello World program, something equivalent to playing with the tool, writing a small proof of concept, and spending 8 to 10 hours. It's all guidelines to just getting some level of fluency. You can start using it, you can start applying that to a certain degree. If it becomes something your manager, your team starts like, this is the tool which we want to really build now, that's where you move into 100 hours and spend almost like several weeks working on it and building their expertise. So this filtering lens, which you have to keep in mind and start. But this is going to become very, very important because things are not stopping. Things are going to keep on changing. So you have to use things which a lot of people are not using. This thing, YouTube has something to watch later. I strongly suggest that people just keep on putting things so that don't get distracted with all the things coming in, but at least put it into your watch later kind of setting so that when you have some time, you want to really have something you're munching and just want to see that, check it out and create a library of what you are going to keep on collecting. It at least that collection of pieces there and you're continuously building the horizontal line, which we were talking, the breadth of your knowledge and kind of getting awareness in several areas. Again, not every single thing, but several things. So this is an important piece of the puzzle which you have to keep in mind and how to really build the T-shaped learning experience. Now, let's take some practical strategies to sum it up together and bring it all into how you can really apply in your career, your own area of work. So the first strategy, which also literally talks about what we did in the previous slide, is micro-learning. There is no way you can just do a degree, even college degree, certificates, 2-3 days programs, which a company can give you time and kind of go out and just take a training or something. Weeks or months later, you come out of the training, you're already outdated. The versions, the new models, the new tools, which are continuously coming. So the best bet, we cannot keep up fully. There is no good silver bullet and perfect answer to learn everything unless there is a day when we have a chip in our head and everything is being absorbed by the chip and the AI. I don't see any other possibility but to really filter things and do micro learnings on small things. Second piece of thing is like as you build your journey and really build onto deciding things which is going to go into the 10 hours, the 100 hours, even beyond kind of a thing, thinking about certifications, credentials. There is a lot of competition. Unfortunately, there is a lot of layoffs. So how do you stand? Especially what I suggest for folks who are new to the career, just fresh grads and coming out of the college and things like that, you have to really prove yourself. You don't have the necessary experience. And unfortunately, that's a segment which is struggling a lot these days. I would suggest like every year, you need to get a certification in some area, at least for the first 3 years of your life. Just get one certification. It's your choice. Figure that out, right? So build that way. So slowly start with exploring, doing micro learnings, build your foundational breadth, and then you continue to build your path into a certification thing. So that's the first strategy. It can apply to everybody, every individual right now, career, professional, new, could look into that. The second strategy, which we would say is like building your awareness through different kind of information which is coming in. There is a lot of information. There are great newsletters. There is broadcasts. So if you have defined your vertical, your area, your technology, just go to LinkedIn, go to YouTube channel of that company, that tool, service. There's so much information they're saying. So change your world around you yourself. It's just a matter of few clicks. You can sign up for podcasts, newsletters, that company you follow on LinkedIn, that subscribe to your YouTube channel. So many things which are possible will automatically start feeding you information to be just aware and keeping up with that kind of area. So instead of random things being showed up to you, you drive it consciously and define what you're going to do. You can set up alerts. There are a lot of AI related things. I think that if there is a lot of big post or something, you can put into AI, summarize that. Give me top 3 summaries of this conversation, this particular video, this particular blog. You can summarize that in a very, very short way and can quickly get that. So there is a lot of ways which we can apply that. So that is like how to keep up with the trends and awareness by having strategy number 2. Strategy number 3 is we have to continue to look into networking and mentorship. This is nothing new, but I think with the change in the pace of things and to stand yourself out in this, look on different ways. I think this is one of the best things which can happen if you can find a mentor in the space which you are. I think it's unbelievable transformation which can happen if you can find that person which they are there, and you have to just reach out to those folks who are 5 years, 10 years ahead in exactly what you're doing. Their 1 hour and half an hour is going to transform your life and save so many years in your life. Unbelievable experiences which I personally had, learning from so many other folks, and hope others have got benefited from I mentored and helped others as well. So this is something to constantly look for, and you have to reach out. Nobody's going to come to you. Everybody's busy in their own lives. So reach out to folks, look out for those individuals, whether it is in your organization, outside your organization. There are so many possibilities around that. There are a lot of communities which are there. The 2 popular one which I suggest is Meetup. This can give you the local touch. You can go and meet persons, interact with the people. When you go to meetups, I've seen a lot of people just running around and shaking hands with everybody. That's the best way to get a viral viewer, right? Jokes apart, the point is have the deeper conversation. It's not about just shaking hands, just touching everybody, exchanging your card, or doing things. It's not going to help. There are so many people they're meeting and just moving around. It's the deep conversation which you can have with 2, 3, 5 people. That's it. I think just go for the deeper conversation, try to learn from them, understand what they are doing. Everybody's so eager to talk about there and sell things or give their card, but look into their perspective from both ways, learning experience. And that is what I would suggest for the meetup perspective. Maven.com, and some of you have come from that, but others who have not, go into that platform. It's a great tool with tons and tons of really high quality content, training sessions like these, and which are possible there. So those are communities which you can keep up with. The last and the 4th piece of strategy, which I would say, the world is changing and AI is definitely taking jobs, taking roles. It is much better in certain things than we are as a human. So we have to start strategizing how we really look into shaping ourselves in the right way that we can be still relevant, still important in the whole equation. There is a whole debate. Nobody kind of totally disagrees that we are not, AI is not taking jobs, taking roles. It has better memory. It has the ability to really, the speed of learning, picking up content, producing content is unprecedented. That human beings cannot cope up with that. But there is strengths which we have. I mean, I had a conference or session where I did for Stanford. My view about the job world is this, right? There's no doubt it is taking it. There's no thing we're already seeing in our companies and the way things are transforming. If we look in the whole spectrum of things, how we look at technology, the peak of technology, these people who are really creating AI tools and the best of best LLMs and things like that, that's one side of the spectrum. And the other side of the spectrum are very much human-oriented roles, counseling, the nurses, and all very physical kind of work. That if I look at the spectrum of that, the middle area, which is easy digitalization, is already gone, right? I think that's changing. And slowly it is moving towards more on the side of technology. Still very deep technical things are going to stay. What's going to stay for a long period of time is that human element, the critical thinking, the emotional intelligence which people have. So those are skills which have been said years and years by surveys and reports that they are important anyways, but these are which are going to set us apart. I think that's the last frontier the human being has. I think the rest is all grabbed for AI. And I think we should start playing, aligning ourselves with that for that future. And that's the possibility, and that's what has happened. So these are 4 important strategies which you can practically apply into things. I want to bring it home, everything together, and sum it up into a more practical way, how you can actually take it step by step by giving you all a 30-day plan, something very simple to start with, action plan. I would say the first few days, if you can dedicate and think about it quality way, what's your skill, what's your area? You may be already in a particular area, you're deciding a particular area, make that conscious choice. It may be not perfect, but try to take your best guess. Start exploring areas which you can think and start taking those micro learnings and YouTube videos, reading about it. Just play around with that, multiple things in the thing. Spend 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. There is, even if you spend 30 minutes on a thing, you are becoming a reasonable knowledge than 90% of the people on the planet. That's the reality of the situation. With so much things happening. An hour really does that much of difference right now. So just starting with that, continue to explore, building into that, and you start getting deeper into areas where we start building more deeper expertise into this area. So what we have done, as I talked about the Academic 360, so we have built this platform with this micro learning concept in the world. I've been in 15 years in the education space, 10 years in the corporate world kind of thing, working with the Stanfords of the world, the best in the healthcare, the best in the kind of thing. We've been fortunate to really serve those Fortune 500 companies. What we see, the challenge is continuously the same. There were long different training certifications, things and things. Less and less of time is available, and folks are saying, how can you do this training for us in 1 day, half day, 90 minutes? I am not having the time to send my employees for this training. We cannot take them out for 2 days, 3 days training kind of a thing. And even that, if they're doing it, that's not something which we can continue to sustain, and technology is changing so fast. So the answer is, there is some concept of drip kind of courses. The information is coming to you rather than you going and taking time off and have those micro learnings in 15, 30 minutes every single day, which is coming. You may not do it every single day, but I think that's what this suggestion is. So we have created this free course, which I will share that in a quick minute once I move a little few slides, and we'll sum it up. What we have also done is created a bonus for folks who have been here in the session for all this while. And we have created a discount, 50% discount to anything on our platform, academy360.com. And this is the promo code A360 launch. So you can apply that. I think it's a limited number of things. I don't know since how long it has been there. So if it's not working, it's gone. But there's a limited number of folks who can avail this, right? So the takeaways which we want to really highlight here is, think about the T or table-shaped kind of approach. Look at the hype, look at the buzz, look at those researches, and try to apply that, filter it. Nobody can cope up with everything. Take a structured approach, that 1, 10, 100 model, where you can really start thinking about it, and think about if you really aim for a particular mastery or this area which you can build on. So that's what we were trying to really highlight in a very short session with this period of time where it's really challenging to really keep up, and how do we really build our approaches to really these things. I'm going to share a couple of links, the Academy 360, and this on my LinkedIn profile. I have this article about 110, 100 learning paradigm. So you can look at that as well. Let me bring up the sites quickly, which I was referring to, and give you all the links for those particular things. So this is the big data trunk. We serve a lot of corporate trainings to companies and organizations. We do have some B2C public trainings as well, so you can look at that. Looking at academy360.com, there is this 5-day course which I was talking about. Let me give the site, and you can go to that particular link, take up the free course, 5 days. The way this course works is, every single day what happens, you get an email notification, and then you get a small piece of content. It's a very small amount of content which comes to your email, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. And we also think about a lot of psychological approach, like you will not be able to provide half an hour every day. So one day is a little bigger content, the next day it's a little smaller amount of content. or catch up or revision, which you might do, because if you have not been able to keep up with that, you can catch up. So that a lot of psychology has been thought about it. So this is the different way of approaching it. And our mind, our thought process, our research, that's the future. I don't think so there is any other way of really trying to keep up. That's the best bet which we can do it. So that's the free day course. We call it as slice learning, not even micro learnings in our way, like the way pizza is pizza by the slice. If you take micro learning, it's almost like taking a bite, and that doesn't meet your thirst, your hunger, and it's not going to give you a reasonable mastery level if you want to really win. So it has to be a little more than not just 5 minutes of every day. It's not going to do enough. It has to deliver 15 to 30 minutes kind of thing, and that's the approach we are taking into it. On top of it, once you have done this, there are tons of different courses which we have, those micro learning courses which we were talking about. There's a lot of new things which we have put out. There is at a very, very reasonable price. All of the discount code which I was talking about can be applied to every single of them. And even on this one, you can apply it. It's like $7 or something. You can start a course and build onto that. The biggest piece which we have after this free day course, we have this program called the AI Momentum. That's the next journey of steps, which we would say, where you really try to take it to the next level. And there are tons of tools, prompting, agents, which are covered in this 30-day program. It's discounted. You can apply that 50% discount if the code is really available. I'll put that code again in the chat. So that's what this journey of this second course, which is built on AI Momentum. But I would strongly suggest you all to really at least look into this 3-day course. And really thank you for everybody for hanging in there. Let me bring up that code again, and we'll open up for question answer. Do we have any questions? Yeah, so this is the code. Meanwhile, let me check. I saw there was a lot of conversation happening or chat being thrown in, but I don't know if that was a real question. So folks, please add any questions that you have. Otherwise, that's what we wanted to do in a very short period of time. Hope this session was helpful. One last thing is, quickly wanted to ask if you all can share a small survey, a one question answer survey. I'm going to throw that also in the chat. If you can just answer this one question survey, which helps us evaluate how the sessions and continuously improve. Thanks, Aparna, for putting that code in the chat. So that's the promo code which can apply 50%. Okay, thank you. Let me put that link as well, courses, and specifically the free course. I think I would really suggest people to at least look in the free course. You may not go further ahead. That's fine. That's exploration. But the challenge is, the phrase which I use typically is AI is exciting and scary at the same time. It's exciting who is involved, who is getting in learning, upskilling, continue to do something in that. If you're just getting information from the news and hearing about AI and all of those things, that's going to create and not able to take any action. That's a scary world and the situation which you're creating for yourself. So not moving is not an option in my mind. If you're waiting like everything will settle down and kind of thing, and then you will come along and try to pick up things, I think it will be too late and not a recommended approach. So those were things. Thank you everybody for joining the session. Appreciate you taking some time this Saturday. The session will be available in recorded form in our YouTube channel. I'll post that link in the chat as well of Big Data Truck. Thank you everyone.